Hey everyone, Toby Danilchuk from 39 Celsius Web Marketing Consulting. And in this short little video, I'm going to walk you through a case study that I recently wrote about comparing the cost per lead from Google screened ads, referred to as local service ads or LSA, and the cost per lead from a Google ad, Google pay-per-click campaign, and what are the differences between those two in terms of the cost per lead. So in this case study, I'm going to look at three different legal niches or specialties, if you will: immigration attorney leads, criminal defense attorney leads, and personal injury attorney leads. So this video is for any attorneys or anyone in marketing that wants to understand the financial differences in cost per lead between the Google ads and the LSA ads from Google. And because I do this for a living, at the end of this video, I'll make a no pressure offer that if you need help with your digital marketing, local service ads or Google ads as an attorney for your firm or for you individually, feel free to reach out to us. And so without further ado, let's get right into the case study. So the first question some people have is, what are local service ads? So local service ads from Google show at the top of the search results. So above the Google pay-per-click ads and the Google ads that show there, and above the non-paid organic listings as well. Now, to be eligible to show for Google local service ads, you have to apply and you have to submit your licensing or your bar information. They have to verify via background checks, and there's some other hurdles you have to jump through. But at the end of the process, once you're approved, you get that Google screened badge and you're eligible to show in those search results. One of the big differences with LSA ads versus Google ads is that LSA are pay per lead, not pay per click. Google ads are pay per click typically. So in this case, we're paying per lead. The other big difference is that when somebody clicks on your ad for an LSA, they go to a page, your LSA page, that has more information about you, reviews, how they can contact you, whether that's via a form or via a click-to-call phone number, versus pay-per-click ads, Google ads, which send the traffic straight to your website. So LSA keeps the traffic on the Google property. It doesn't send the traffic through to your website like a Google pay-per-click campaign will. So the next question is, how and when do my local service ads show at the top of the page? Well, they show very similar to how Google ads would normally show, which is somebody types in a query: immigration attorney near me, criminal defense attorney near me, personal injury attorney near me. The ads show there. But that's really where the similarities between LSA and normal, typical Google ads, Google pay-per-click ads have in common. Unlike Google ads, LSA are not set up using keywords. They're set up by you setting up your attorney specialty or choosing your attorney specialty within LSA and then choosing job types within that, versus keywords are used in the Google ad campaign. So you choose your variations of keywords and whatnot, and you write your ads to show when somebody types in those keywords. So both LSA and Google ads can show on the page at the same time, but LSA are always going to show at the top of the page ahead of everything else. And again, they will show based on a user's query when they type it in. It's just how these things are set up are very, very different, and how you pay is also very different between the two. The next question I often get is, are LSA more effective than Google pay-per-click and Google ads? And if your, I guess the answer to that question, if your goal is purely lead generation, LSA ads can be more effective, significantly more effective in some situations than Google ads. And we have actually found that the cost per lead coming from LSA can be up to 10x less than what it is on Google pay-per-click leads. So significant economic differences there, and more effective using LSA. Keep in mind that with LSA, it is purely bottom of the funnel, going after leads. There's no what we would call a marketing mid-funnel or upper funnel, going after and chasing potential leads that perhaps will eventually be ready in a few more days or in a week or in a couple weeks, but just not ready now. So LSA is purely bottom of the funnel lead generation. So what makes LSA so effective compared to Google Ads? Well, for one, as I mentioned earlier, they own all the real estate at the top of the page. The other reason is that it's pay per lead, not pay per click. And as I mentioned, we have seen situations where the cost per lead from an LSA is 10 times less than what you'd pay on pay per click. And in many cases, the cost per lead even using LSA is less than the cost per click. Never mind the cost per lead, but the cost per click coming from a Google ad campaign. So let me walk you through the cost per lead differences using LSA between those three legal specialties: immigration, criminal, and personal injury attorney. And as you can see, the cost per lead starts to gradually go up in more competitive spaces like personal injury and criminal defense. So now let's compare the cost per lead between LSA and Google Ads between the three legal specialties that we're talking about. So let's take immigration. As you can see, the cost per click from a Google ad campaign can be anywhere from $13 to $20 per click. Now, if we use a reasonable assumption that 10% of that traffic from a Google ad campaign that's going to your website converts to a lead, we can assume about $130 to $200 per lead. Now, compare that to an LSA campaign, and in this case, we generated over 200 leads at about $31 a lead using LSA. So a huge significant difference in terms of cost per lead between the two platforms for immigration attorney leads. Now let's look at the cost per lead differences for criminal defense attorney leads between LSA and Google Ads. The cost per click for criminal defense attorney keywords ranges anywhere from $53 to $75 a click approximately. Now, again, if we use the same logic as before, that approximately 10% of that traffic converts to a lead, we're looking at about $530 to $750 per lead using Google Ads. Now compare that to the LSA cost per lead, and we can see the cost per lead is only about $111 using LSA for criminal defense attorney queries. And now one of the most expensive, most competitive spaces, personal injury attorneys, when you look at the cost difference per lead there, it's huge. So the cost per click for personal injury attorney keywords, such as personal injury attorney near me, range anywhere from $195 to $300 per click. That's for those terms, never mind what car accident and some of the more valuable terms are going to look like. But between $195 and $300 per click, if we assume again, to keep things similar, that 10% of that traffic converts to a lead, you're talking about $2,000 to $3,000 per lead using a Google ad pay-per-click campaign. Now compare that to the LSA for personal injury attorneys, and the cost per lead goes down by a factor of 10. So just wrapping this up really quickly to summarize, if you're looking at LSA as a possibility, I would highly recommend it. The cost per lead differences, as I just showed you, are significant between those three legal specialties. It takes a while to get through the approval process, so just bear in mind. And there's some other factors in terms of performance for LSA that you don't run into with Google Ads. But if this is something you want to pursue and you need help with your digital marketing, local SEO, LSA, Google Ads, and whatnot, feel free to reach out to me, Toby at 39celsius.com, or call our agency at 951-444-0174, and we'd be happy to talk to you with a free consultation to talk about your needs and how we might be able to help you.